Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever time it is. This is Mr. Fowler. I'm going to show you really quick just a couple tips and tricks for getting started in OnShape. When you first launch in, you're going to see a spot that looks like this. You can go into created by me to find previous files. And the great thing is that you can actually share files with your friends. You can edit it and tweak it as they go. So I'm going to show you just a couple quick tricks to get you started on your flashlights or whatever it is you're working on. So when you go to create, you want to create just a basic document here to get started, and you can name it whatever. Today I'm just going to call this flashlight demo. So that's the point of the video today. So once you load in, you're going to see your workspace here. We've got our top plane, our front plane, and our right or side plane. Usually when I start, this kind of gets a little cluttered, so I'd like to hide some stuff. So I'm going to get rid of the right plane and our front plane, which will leave us with the top plane. If you're laser cutting, everything you do should be done in the same sketch, right? We understand that we do that in 2D, so basic sketch there. I'll show you how to do that now. You're going to go to Sketch, you're going to select your main top plane, and you can go to the top. From here, you're able to sketch what you like. If you remember from the Mousetrap car project, we would just draw whatever we like and go from it. Kind of the neat thing that you can do is up here under the Insert option, you can actually insert an image and trace it. So for those of you that are looking to do a superhero logo, you can insert that image. Just make sure you use the proper file type. It'll appear here, and you're good to go. So I'm just going to draw something really quick. Doesn't really matter what it is, but I'm going to remind you how to export for the laser cutter. So if I come here and I draw myself a circle, let's say I want a 4-inch circle, right? I can just type 4 inches. Remember, if you miss your chance to type in that dimension, right? Like let's say I didn't type it in and it's, who knows what measurement that is. You can always bring in your dimension tool from up here, click the outside, and then type what you'd like. So if I want it to be 4.5, type that in, and it is so. Good to go. Once you're finished, if you wanted to export this, you would right-click on it, select Export as DXF. Again, this is for laser cutting. This is not for 3D printing because it's 2D. It has no shape to it. You can change your name up here to something that is fitting. Your format will be a DXF. I prefer 2013. It seems to work best with our software. And typically I leave it on workspace units. Our laser cutter will auto detect the file type, so that's fine. Once you do that, you can export and you send that to the shared laser cut drive. But we're not here to laser cut today. I'm here to show you how to 3D model. So I'm going to show you how to make a very basic flashlight in OnShape pretty quick. So I did this demo in class. If you remember, we did a series of planes and used what's called the loft tool to combine them. So I'm going to create my first sketch, will be my first profile right here, and I'm just going to create the flashlight head. So I'm going to start with a center point, circle, and I'm going to draw this to the size of the flashlight I want. In class, I think I picked 3 inches. It's really up to you. Please keep your 3D prints reasonable. The max height we can do here in class is 11 inches, so we're going to keep that in mind as we work. So now that I've got this, I'm going to create the next circle that's going to help to create the kind of bowl that's going to hold my light. So I'm going to use what's called an offset plane, starting on the top plane, right? I have to pick the top plane as my starting point, and I can shift to a front view, and the offset here is actually how big that cone's going to be. So I'm going to feel it out. I'm thinking I want to make it probably 2 1/4 feels good to me. So I'm going to go 2.25. Great. Now on that plane, I can select it and create a sketch. And this sketch is going to serve as the endpoint for my loft. I can go to a topmost position. Oh, it's asking me for a sketch plane. So notice this, if it's saying select a sketch plane or it's not letting you do anything, just take a look at the screen and see what it's saying. So I want to pick the top plane I'm looking at. It says plane 1, which is the one I made in the prior step. I'll go ahead and set my center point circle, and I'm going to make this a little bit larger. So I think my handle, I'm going to make it 1.5 since that seems like a good size for me to grab with my hand. So now I can hit OK. It doesn't look like much because I have just 2 circles, but it's going to come together really quick. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to select the loft tool, and I'll select my top, and then I can select the bottom. What you'll see there is it started to join it into a kind of a curved shape that resembles the start of a flashlight, but I don't have a handle. So what I'll do is I'll take this part here, and I can use my extrude tool to extrude it upwards. To extrude this upwards, I can choose how long I want it to be. Perhaps a length of 5 inches is fine. If we're doing some mental math here, 5 plus the 2 1/4 on the base is going to bring my entire flashlight height to 7 1/4. What if I wanted to check that? What if I didn't know if I was right? To measure very quickly, I can zoom out, move my face. Down here there is a measurement tool, which allows me to select the topmost line and the bottommost line, and it should give me a distance between. If we look over here, it says, 7.25. There we go. Perfect. So we're in good shape. Now, right now, this shape is completely solid, which isn't going to do me any favors, so I'm going to hollow it out. A really easy way to do that is with something called a shell tool. So if we look up here, you can find the shell tool next to the hole tool. Some people may be tempted to use the hole tool, which will work. It'll cut through the whole thing, but I like to get the contours on the bottom here. If I do a hole all the way through, it's just going to be like I drilled through it. So if I select the shell tool, I can select my object here. So with shell selected, sorry about that. I'll select my entity. For some reason, it's having me select both. And my shell thickness, I'm going to set to 1/8, so that's going to be 0.125. And when I press enter, should be hollow. Oops, let's turn that off. So okay. And it didn't seem to work. So let's see what actually happened there. So over here, do you see how it highlighted as red? That means that my step was an error. So I'm actually going to delete it, and we'll try it again. Oh, and that's in the way. Luckily on this computer, you can just hit backspace and it should delete. So I'll hit shell again. I'm going to select this face here, and there we go. Okay, it was giving me some difficulty because I was selecting the entire body, so I apologize for that. Do you see how it doesn't go all the way through though? Not quite good. So there's two options, right? I can continue the shell from the top, if I select this top portion as well, right? Or I could have just went through and did the whole. But let's make sure that that actually went all the way through, and it sure looks like it does, but let's find out. So if I press OK, did it go through? Yes, looks good to me. All right. So now I have a hollowed out flashlight. Obviously, I'll have to make some sort of cap. It'd be easy enough to just kind of make a circle off to the side and put that on there. Or maybe at a later time, maybe once I print this, I'll decide to make my own. Now, what about making a hole for a switch? Pretty easy to do that. We could just make a hole in the side of this face. So you can certainly use the hole tool. The switches I'm giving you have a nut at the top that allows you to tighten it onto a spot. Some people might want to make like a boxy hole, which doesn't make really a lot of sense to me, because if you can make it look clean, why would you not? So for us to make a hole in the side of it, you can simply grab your hole tool. You should be able to select the side here. Now if it's giving you difficulty and it's not letting you select the side here, what can we do? All right? It means we have to get a little bit more creative. So to do that, I can bring back one of my planes here, like my front plane, and I can select that plane when I go to make my hole. Oh, and it's not letting me. So I often get confused when I'm switching between here and Fusion. So if it's not letting you do it through the hole method, like this, we can always find an alternate route. To do that, we can take our sketch tool, and we can select that front plane. Sometimes it helps to hide the other planes. And I can rotate to a front view. Now in this front view, I can look at, well, where would I want my switch to go? Right now I'm actually sketching down here, right? But it doesn't matter. I can break the rules and come up here. So I'm going to make a circle. I'm going to encourage you to measure with a caliper because I don't know the measurement offhand right now. So I can make that circle where I would like to make that hole. I just kind of eyeballing it there. Press OK. And if I go to that shape, I can extrude it. But Mr. Fowler, extruding means you're going to add to it. Not necessarily. So see how it won't let me select that sketch there? Oh, well now it did. If it won't, you might just have to hide your part real quick. So you can just hide the part and then come back to it. Now see how it says solid? Make sure you're doing a solid extrude. Don't do surface because that's going to be paper thin. It won't work. So with that, I'm going to switch it to a remove this time. All right, so it'll actually cut through. So now if I pull it all the way through, you should see that hole start to appear. Press OK, and you have our flashlight. A couple little nifty things. There's a lot I could show you in here, but a lot of it is going to be kind of exploratory, but this is the bare bones to get you started. Now what if on the bottom here I wanted to curve out the outside, right? I didn't want this to be quite so solid. I can select my circumference of the bottom portion here, and I could select a fillet. And what a fillet does is it actually allows me to round that out. Now that's an extreme fillet, so I might want to go a lot less than that. So let's do a radius of maybe 0.1. Press tab, it'll actually show. And that looks a little bit more rounded. And I think it looks kind of neat. You can certainly round out other portions if you like, and just take your time. It's interesting because it appears to have filled it out up there. I'm guessing it's because it's relying on that for the extrude. So pretty cool. All right, so here's your basic flashlight. I did it pretty quick. Again, you certainly don't have to go for something this standard. Have fun tracing out your images you bring in if you're going to laser cut them or you want to 3D print them. Just make sure your shapes are closed when you go to extrude them. All right, I hope that helped you out. Oh, before I get out of here, how do we even export this to 3D print? So you're going to right click on part 1 over here and go to export. So for DXFs, that's laser cutting, right? An STL is what we need to put through the slicer to actually 3D print. So you would do that. I need you to send it to me in millimeters. Even if you work in inches, please make sure you're setting your thing in millimeters, right? It's very, very, very important. If you don't know what units you have been working in this whole time, that's problematic. But you can certainly check that out up here with the 3 lines. I'm working in inches today. If you'd like to change that, you can go to workspace units and change your option there. Really, this first part is the only one that matters. All right, good luck and have fun.